What are the best sounding cars you can buy new right now? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you. But first, you have to know that there are loads of new regulations that are ruining how cars sound. Car makers are fitting particulate filters and soft limiters to their new cars. But there are some cars out there that still sound epic, thank goodness. And I've picked my favourite from each engine category. So I'll start with 4 cylinders and go all the way up to 12 cylinders. Yes, I'm ignoring 16 cylinders because not many cars, apart from Bugatti Chiron, have 16 cylinders. I'm ignoring 3-cylinder cars as well because, as far as I'm concerned, all 3-cylinder engines sound a bit. Anyway, I'm Matt Watson and you're watching the CarWow list of the best sounding cars you can buy now. 4-cylinder engines come in loads of cars. It's the most popular configuration. They're compact, but they can still make plenty of power, especially if you bolt on a massive turbocharger like they do with the AMG A45S. That car's 2-litre engine makes 421 horsepower, so you would imagine it would sound absolutely epic, right? That huge turbo uses some of the energy in the exhaust gases to compress air into the car's intake, which is how it makes so much power. But the more energy it sucks out, the quieter the exhaust will be. This is why the A45S sounds like a vacuum cleaner. But thank goodness, some 4-cylinder cars still sound good. Like the 280 horsepower, 2.3-litre engine you get in a Ford Focus ST. That sounds especially naughty with the upgraded mount tune exhaust. 5-cylinder engines are rare these days. In fact, only 2 car makers still use them, Audi and Cupra. Although both of those brands are actually part of the Volkswagen group, so they use the exact same 2.5-litre turbocharged 5-cylinder engine, which means by default that is the best sounding 5-cylinder available to buy right now. In the new Cupra Formentor VZ5, that engine makes 390 horsepower, but in the Audi RS3, RSQ3 and TTRS, it's allowed to make 400 horsepower. Used to sound amazing. Just listen to this old RS3. But then Audi had to go and ruin everything by shoving a load of particulate filters in the exhaust and giving the car a soft limiter. So if you buy an Audi RS3 now, or any of those other cars, they sound like this. 6-cylinder engines come in loads of different configurations. BMW loves a straight 6, like the 510 horsepower 3-litre twin-turbo S58 engine in the new M3 and M4 competition. It's a great engine and it sounds pretty good. If you want a 6-cylinder engine that sounds more special, you're going to need an Alfa Romeo Giulia or Stelvio Quadrifoglio. These cars both get a 2.9-litre twin-turbo V6 with 510 horsepower. It's basically a Ferrari V8 with a couple of cylinders cut off, and it comes with an awesome sports exhaust. But what about Porsche and its signature flat 6? Well, you'd think that the 911 Turbo S would sound pretty tasty. After all, its 3.8-litre twin-turbo engine makes 650 horsepower, but it suffers from soft limiter-itis, so it sounds like this. Sounds like my Dyson vacuum cleaner. The naturally aspirated 400 horsepower 4-litre in a Cayman sounds a whole lot better. Check this out. Yeah, they're good! But I reckon the best sounding 6-cylinder car on sale is the new 911 GT3. Its glorious 510 horsepower 4-litre naturally aspirated flat 6 revs all the way to 9,000 RPM and sounds like a proper racing car. It's absolutely incredible. Just feast your ears on this. Now if you want to see more and hear more about the 911 GT3, click on the pop-out banner up there to go watch my full in-depth video review. I actually time it from 0 to 60 and over the standing quarter mile, and how quick it is will blow your mind even more than the epic noise it makes. Check it out. There are loads of V8 performance cars out there, but one of the best all-rounders is the Audi RS6. I love the way the car looks and I love how fast it goes, but I don't love the noise it makes, or rather the noise it doesn't make, when it's standing still. doesn't sound like it's got a 600 horsepower V8 under the bonnet, but it has. Have a listen to this, revving, just stationary. Now it's much better, that car is, when you're actually thrashing it. So if you hear it in any of our drag races, it does make a good noise, such as this. See, it's better when it's moving. Now a Lamborghini Urus has the exact same 4-litre twin-turbo V8 as the RS6, tuned slightly differently, and they obviously do something different with the noise because it sounds like this. You're probably thinking, enough with the estates and SUVs, Matt. Give me a proper V8 supercar. Okay, what about McLaren 720S? That has a 720 horsepower, 4-litre twin-turbo V8, so it must sound good, right? Yeah, that doesn't sound so good, does it? But what about a Ferrari 488 Pista? That car's a smaller 3.9-litre twin-turbo V8, but also makes 720 horsepower. Let's check out what that sounds like. Yeah, that sound is much better. You can trust the Italians to make a turbocharged engine sound awesome. But that's not all, because I reckon there are a few V8s that sound even cooler than that. First up is the Jaguar SVR Project 8. This is a supercharged hot rod version of the XE with a 600 horsepower 5-litre V8 engine. Check out the noise. Amazingly, the Project 8 does actually have a soft limiter, although you can't really tell. And anyway, when it's moving, check out the noise of it. Yes, it's like a fireplane from World War II, but there's a supercharged engine that sounds even better. It's a 6.2 litre that you get in the Dodge Demon. Have a listen to its 800 horsepower. Once again, it's hampered by a soft limiter, but you can get around that by hitting both pedals at once and doing a massive burnout. And then it sounds like this. Overall, I reckon that engine in the Dodge is the best sounding V8 currently on sale today. Yeah, American Fanboys parting in the comments. It was dead easy to choose the best sounding V10 car on sale. After all, there are only two, the Audi R8 and the Lamborghini Huracan. The Lamborghini and the Audi have the same chassis, same gearbox, the same four-wheel drive system, and the same basic 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10 engine. Well, it's almost the same engine. You see, the R8 Performance makes 620 horsepower, whereas the Huracan Evo is tuned to 640 horsepower. But that's still really close. So you'd think these cars would sound exactly the same, right? Wrong. The R8 used to sound like this. But that's the older pre-facelifted R8. Since then, Audi has fitted a particulate filter and a soft limiter to the R8. So it now sounds like this. It's a shame. It's not as good, is it? Thankfully, the latest Huracan sounds much better, partly because it uses a load of engine and exhaust bits borrowed from the old Performante. Just get a load of the noise the Lambo makes. Oh yeah, that sounds epic. And as Yanni would say,
I'll take that all day, every day.
I think he's right in this instance. Finally, we've come to cars with 12 cylinders, and there aren't many left these days. I could have included the 725 horsepower Aston Martin DBS Superleggera with its 5.2 litre twin-turbo V12, which sounds like this. But it's not as good as naturally aspirated V12s you get in a Ferrari 812 Superfast and a Lamborghini Aventador. Neither of these cars have any turbos getting in the way of the exhaust, so they sound glorious. Just listen to this Ferrari's 800 horsepower 6.5 litre V12. And now, check out the 770 horsepower 6.5 litre V12 in an Aventador SVJ. The noise of that Lamborghini is incredible. But which do you think sounds the best? Well, I actually raced these two cars against each other, and if you want to check out the video and see which is quicker, I'll put a link just popping out just there in the top right corner of the screen. Click on that and go check out the video. There's also a link in the description.